An extra 7 police are set to join the force in Taree, focusing on known crime spots and keeping up a visible street presence. Officers in the area have been campaigning for more police, saying there haven't been enough to keep the streets safe.
Well, it's due to a large increase in population and crime increases, and just that the workload has been so horrendous here for the people that are here that it's been identified from that there's more staff required.
Similar schemes have been trialled in Coffs Harbour and Port Macquarie, resulting in marked reductions in the level of crime. Residents in Taree have welcomed the move.
I think it's a great initiative. I think that the town has been sadly lacking that. This part of town, we never see a policeman at all, unless they happen to be in a car driving through, so I think it's great.
I think it's about time that the police seem fit to organise it in Taree.
A starting date has not been set for the new officers, but local police say it should be within weeks. Emma Ossian, NBN News. More than 100 people took part in the march, launching a week of activities to promote awareness of Aboriginal culture, the blessing of an Aboriginal flag before it was raised at City Hall. The flag served as recognition of council support and a reminder of Aboriginal presence in the Hunter.
Well, the purpose of raising that flag is to show the people that we're here in this valley, and the Indigenous people, the descendants of the people, are still here, and we've got a lot to give in sharing with the culture and understandings, and taking people out on site visitations to talk about our lifestyle and beliefs, which will give a better understanding.
Well, they go into a mode now where they will have extra practices, and yes, they are nervous, but quietly confident that they will do very, very well. Just being chosen to go into it is an honour, and they are performing for a young band exceptionally well, and their mums and dads and all of Newcastle could be very, very proud of them.
After establishing branches around the country, Barter Card is now in Newcastle and on the Central Coast. There are already around 500 local members who previously were part of Business Bartering Exchange. However, that company has now merged with the larger Barter Card. Wayne Sharp is the brains behind the scheme, which last year exceeded a turnover of $75 million. Each business is given a plastic card which works in a similar way to a credit card.
But let's say, for example, that a restaurateur wanted to get $5,000 worth of printing done. Normally a direct barter, that transaction wouldn't take place. With Barter Card, they pay $5,000 trade dollars, and now the restaurant owes $5,000 to the system worth of meals rather than to the printer.
Helping to promote the scheme in return for a 4-year sponsorship deal is cricketer Craig McDermott. He and other participants are listed in this directory. Robert Morrison is one businessman who says he's benefited from Barter Card.
Just about any small business would have to be doing something drastically wrong. They shouldn't be in business if by joining Barter Card they couldn't pick their turnover up by 5%.
It's not all good news though. There is a cash cost involved for businesses. On each transaction, the company makes 5%, and then there's a $12 monthly fee.
The car hit a telegraph pole on Lookout Road in New Lambton Heights early last night. Police say it appears the 36-year-old driver from Rankin Park lost control of the car as he travelled north towards Wallsend. Traffic was diverted around the crash scene as rescue crews worked for more than an hour to free the man. He was taken to John Hunter Hospital suffering head and internal injuries. Tonight he's in intensive care in a serious condition. Houses in the area lost power for a short period while Shortland Electricity replaced the damaged pole. The cause of the accident is still being investigated. Catherine Lamond, NBN News.
A steady increase in coal exports is expected from the Hunter this decade. In line with the forecast growth, Port Waratah Coal Services is building a second coal loading berth.
Well, the potential in terms of demand from our major supply areas in Asia looks strong. And there is no doubt that the Hunter is ideally placed to meet some of that growth.
Addressing the Newcastle Business Club lunch, General Manager Philip Hughes said the region's coal export capacity will jump from 46 million tonnes per annum to 56 million tonnes. The stack area will also be expanded.
It will mean that we're in a better position to make sure that we can handle any peaks in demand which may occur.
The expansion project is on schedule and the second loader should be finished within 2 months. Jane Anderson, NBN News.
To that and say thanks very much and wish you all the best and continue the great service that you're giving the Valley.
Thank you. This is the basis of what we continue to do for not only the... They waste more than that. I'll take it for a flight.
There's too many dials there for you, Tuck. Get it. No, it's the development of people like yourselves who put money into it, you know, like rockets that come out of the moon.
These little Aussies recently hit the headlines when they revealed their eating habits weren't limited to the traditional diet of eucalyptus leaves. In fact, these 7 adults and 1 baby are the world's only known apple-eating koalas. Today it was time for our furry friends to relocate to a new enclosure at Newcastle's Blackbutt Reserve. But some, like 6-year-old Lucy, took a little persuading. Do you have any problem taking them away from their old home?
Oh, a couple of them played up a little bit, but the majority were quite good. You know, they knew something was going on.
If you have to go, you might as well do it in style. Many two-legged Australians couldn't boast about being chauffeur-driven to their new place of residence. The $1 million koala enclosure and bird aviary offers the cuddly creatures taller trees, larger living areas, plus picturesque bush views, which the tiny tenants wasted no time checking out. But the home comforts don't stop there.
Yes, they've got their own little ensuite down there. They've got a room down there which is ventilated, with their own little perches and oil-filled heater and a light. It's just little extra comforts they've got, and which they haven't got in this old enclosure.
It'll be a few weeks before the public can visit. The koalas need to settle in and get things just how they like them in their new habitat. After that, reserve staff say they'll gladly welcome well-wishers. Catherine Lamond, NBN News.
Today was the first dress rehearsal for the cast of Sleeping Beauty. All are dancers from the Queensland Ballet. 20-year-old Julian Lankshire joined the company 2 years ago. This is the first time he'll perform in front of a local audience.
Being away for 5 years and then coming back and doing the lead role on opening night, I'm sort of really on the edge almost.
And he's not the only local amongst the group. Kimberly Davis of Maitland will also dance, and then there's a cast of 20 children. Sleeping Beauty will open at the Civic Theatre on Thursday for 5 performances. It's just one of numerous well-known productions to come to the Civic this year. Launched today was the popular opera Les Miserables. Les Mis is Opera Hunter's major production for this year, and the cast gave a taste of what will fill the grand old Civic in December.
The move to recycle products has become a nightmare for Newcastle Council, the Lord Mayor saying previous systems haven't been cost efficient.
A weekly recycling was simply not cost effective. It was costing us, nearly $2 million to collect less than 2% of the waste stream.
The old system was dumped. Those who wanted to recycle old bottles, papers and cans left in the cold. But after much infighting and controversy, the council has made a U-turn of sorts, saying it can find a cost-efficient system that would be up and running within 6 months. The greatest thorn in council's side, Greens Party councillor John Sutton.
He doesn't care what it costs. He's got a hobby horse that he wants to promote, and it's curbside recycling irrespective of the cost.
Deputy Lord Mayor Frank Rigby says 6 months isn't enough. He wants 12 months to find the right people to take on the collection. However, some independent councillors are still sceptical that it will get off the ground at all.
It could be a priceless exhibition of great works, but instead it's a way of raising money for research into women's cancer. All of these famous works are forgeries, cleverly copied by well-known local artists. There's Vincent van Gogh's Sunflowers, Rembrandt's Woman Bathing and Rodin sculptures. There's even a copy of the Mona Lisa. 15 of the works will be auctioned at the end of this month, among them this Rupert Bunny piece called Girl in Sunlight by Marianne McKinnon Kidd. Marianne chose this work after receiving advice that the real painting had been stolen.
Recreating his work has made me feel a lot warmer, and I feel a lot closer to him. You have to connect with the artist when you're painting a forgery, because you have to observe the work so close.
The exhibition will be on display until next month. Jodie McKay, NBN News.
He's 31 years old, he's had 13 seasons with the Falcons, but Michael Johnson is still one of the shining stars of the NBL. Against Perth on the weekend, Johnson top scored with 26 points with 8 3-pointers. A couple of players called Rucker and Dozier have dominated in previous games, but the wily, experienced MJ is just happy to be out there putting in a few baskets.
I just make up the numbers these days, just fill in the uniform and do what I'm asked to do.
The Falcons are preparing for a big battle with Illawarra at home on Saturday night. Illawarra is sitting just below Newcastle on the table. They'll be desperate to get up into the 8. Michael Johnson says the Falcons are flying high with spirit. Any team they play from here on has a game on their hands.
And we're looking forward to playing each week, and as I said, we've got some important games coming up and a tough road home, so we're just looking forward to the challenges.
It was great. It was really good. Canada was great. It was all the places we went to were really good and stuff. Yeah, it was good.
It was really exciting and nerve-wracking, and it was choice. It was excellent.
It was a weary and flu-struck group of koalas that reunited with family and friends at Lambton High today, but one still revelling in the title of Best Junior Band at the famous Calgary Stampede.
For us to be one of 2 bands who were junior out of the 6 and to pick up a silver award, our children were really ecstatic.
The parade was only one of 19 performances during the 18-day tour, and while cultures were exchanged and international friendships made, there's no place like home.
They straighten up Hassan with a handy breaker. 150 left to go, is nicely clear of Swift Talent, running on well, and they're followed by High Waters. Hassan is the leader with 50 or 60 metres to go. Swift Talent is coming at it. Swift Talent finishing the better. Swift Talent has got up to score.
Swift Talent took the honours, paying $7.80 and $2.50 for a place.
The alarm was raised at 7 o'clock this morning after a tower guard spotted one man outside the correctional centre, another within. Police allege an accomplice from the outside cut his way through the perimeter fences with bolt cutters to make an escape route for the inmate. The 2 men fled on foot. The accomplice was found half an hour later. He had escaped from St Heliers at Muswellbrook last month. A command post was established in Cessnock in a bid to catch 47-year-old Gregory Robert Beeforth. He's described as 183 centimetres tall, of slim build, fair complexion, brown greying hair with a prominent moustache. He's not regarded as dangerous. Beeforth was last seen wearing a prison uniform of a green pullover and tracksuit pants.
The man that we're looking for was serving a 4-year sentence, mostly for property theft and similar offences. We're still fairly keen to catch him and bring him back into the centre.
Police are calling on the public to help with their inquiries.
What we're actually after at this stage is anyone that may have seen any vehicles suspiciously about the corrective centre or the area up in that direction, or anyone that may have been seen running through bushland or hitching.
Richard O'Leary, NBN News. About 30 runners lined up for the starter's gun in chilly conditions, including well-known Newcastle entrant John McLean in his usual attire of only shorts. It was a short run to Cessnock's basketball stadium and back before the competitors tackled the run to the Mount Bright lookout. The half-marathoners shared the road with Sunday fun runners who entered the 10-kilometre event. It was all serious up front. Toronto's Annette Quirk led the women, Darren McConnell the leading man, 3 minutes ahead at the halfway mark. Local Jeff Hugg in the orange claimed second place at the turn, but it was the Sydney-siders' day. McConnell finished in 1 hour and 18 minutes. His wife Sophie finished second in the women's, behind Annette Quirk. Richard O'Leary, NBN News.
Year 9 students from Jesmond High met with Mayfield Police to talk over their differences. The police, dressed in street clothing, listened to what the youngsters had to say about issues such as drugs, violence and peer pressure. The plan to make children realise police are also human. Meanwhile, a $70,000 cheque was handed over from the state government for the Circuit Breaker program. The scheme, run by the Migrant Resource Centre and the Police Citizens Youth Club, is to educate ethnic youngsters on what to do in leaving school and getting a job.
Paddling amongst the dolphins at 1 Mile Beach is becoming a regular occurrence for 16-year-old Brock Flowers. In Year 11 at Foster High, Brock spends as much time training as possible.
I come down to the surf a fair bit and just train on the waves, which is good because in the whitewater event there's stoppers in the river and the waves are pretty similar to that, and it gives you practice in them and surfing them and getting through them. And also do flat water training, distance training and actual stroke correction.
Canadian canoeing differs from kayaking in 2 ways. The competitor kneels rather than sits in the vessel and uses a single instead of a double-ended paddle. Brock has been involved in the sport for some years with successes in state CHS competitions. This year he took part in a state selection event on the Barrington River. Brock won the Open Men's C1 division of the 6-kilometre wildwater race, as well as the open section of the slalom course. His training in kayaking took him to second place in the under-16 K1. He has some strong ambitions.
Oh, well, this year I'm hoping to get selected in the state team to go into the national titles, and then hopefully get picked in the Australian team to go to New Zealand.
Group 3 Saturday clubs alongside referees and executives have taken a vote on the issue. The result 16-12 in favour of an amalgamation. But Group 3 President Barry Smith says this isn't enough to change the constitution. A 75% majority is needed. Mr Smith says clubs in the Saturday League believe the proposal can work, but there is some scepticism.
Also, they're probably a little bit worried about the strength of some of the clubs, but I might say that it's not over and done with yet. I still believe that it will be coming to reality in 1995.
Another meeting is scheduled for next Monday. Mr Smith says a positive result will ensure the Country Rugby League stays out of negotiations. It will also enable Wauchope and Port Macquarie clubs to go to Group 2. However, if no agreement is reached, Country Rugby League may rule in favour of a Super League, something the group executive doesn't want to see happen.
We don't believe it will be viable because there's too much travelling and it will cost far too much for the clubs to participate in it.
Tracy Walsh, NBN News.
Residents of Mountain View Place marched on Cessnock Council, appealing to Mayor Marie Callaghan to stop a project that will see 2 chicken sheds built on a nearby property.
Residents are concerned about the environmental aspects. We think that the odour from these sheds, we're all downwind from these sheds, and they're certainly going to affect our standard of living.
The sheds will house around 45,000 chickens. Residents say they've only just learnt about the project, which they claim could devalue their homes.
I'm sure the council have met all the legal requirements in relation to exhibiting the proposed development, but the majority of residents downwind have only learned about the development in the last couple of days.
Council says it gave public notice about the project but received only 1 objection. With the issue going before a meeting tonight, Council will now be asked to consider the new objections.
I would think that once all councillors become aware that there is a body of objection, that they may decide to postpone the decision for a couple of weeks while we look more closely.
If Council approves the project, the matter could end up in the Land and Environment Court. Anne Lewis, NBN News. Those at the launch of the Healthy Heartbeat Food Accreditation program were treated to a feast of fried food, an unusual spread for a program that's trying to reduce heart disease in Cessnock.
The incidence of heart attack in the coalfields is about 20% higher than the national average.
The program is not aimed at consumers, rather takeaway shops are encouraged to use a new monounsaturated oil to fry foods, a healthy alternative to fats currently used for cooking.
Even the most ardent of people who are after health still have a bit of fried food and deep fried food every now and then. It'd be great if they could go along to a fast food takeaway shop and know that they're getting a food that has lower fat.
Developed by Newcastle University's Department of Nutrition and Dietetics, the program will be trialled in Cessnock for 3 months. If successful, it could revolutionise the fast food industry.
No doubt Armstrong and Aldrin would be proud. Year 6 rocket scientists at Avondale Primary are aiming for the sky, launching 20 mini Apollos on this special anniversary. The school received permission for the flights from the nearby airstrip. These tiny rockets can fly 800 metres into the air. The students built their own craft, but not too many have grand ambitions of becoming astronauts themselves.
Well, I just don't particularly want to go up to the moon.
It wasn't quite up to the US space program standards, but science was still a winner. Not a giant step for mankind, but maybe a slight shuffle. Peter Ryan, NBN News.